All right. Well, thanks everyone. Welcome back to jTalk. We've got Bill back with us, the president and CEO of Jitterbit, and today we're joined by Manoj, the Jitterbit CTO. So, welcome, guys. Thanks for hopping on. What we're talking about this week is, we had the Claude source code leak. Like Manoj, what are your thoughts on it, and how big of an impact is it to sort of frontier AI and the general use of AI as it relates to kind of just mainstream use?
Yeah, so I think let's quickly for the audience make sure that we understand what got leaked. So 2000 files, half a million of code. What does this mean, right? It basically what leaked is the cloud code which runs on developers' machine, and so it basically told everyone how the client worked for Anthropic. That's number one. The second aspect of the leak, or I would say right before the leak, was a separate misconfiguration in the content management system, which exposed the two different things coming from the Anthropic Cloud Mythos and Capybara. And this is the key. This is where all the security companies got panicked because people believe with those blog posts that the high level hacking can be automated using AI. So that's the gist of it, Jeff.
Yeah. And what do we think the impact from a AI trust and accountability standpoint? Bill, this is for you, kind of directed at the enterprise. How does it change how these enterprises are thinking about AI and the trust that they kind of have to have in it?
Well, I think the key message here is there are still, as AI now moves from kind of B2C to the enterprise, real world applications in enterprises and use cases, there's still coders involved. Whether it's leaking code, but we've all learned that in SaaS applications and in security software, right, there's still coders. And it all starts with those coders and the security protection of that. We also saw news on Anthropic around supply chain in the government. So I think this starts as we move AI to real enterprise use cases. Supply chain influences souls of these that are created by developers. What the developers are doing is going to have a very different view of that, just like with DeepSeek, right? Written in China, right? As we go to real enterprise use cases, these are going to have very different implications. And that's why,
Yeah.
in our case, we're trying to be more agnostic, so an enterprise can pick whichever LLM is suited for their use cases.
So kind of picking up from what Bill said there, about the security angle and the trust angle, like Manoj, what are some of these things the enterprises should be looking at as they, are in the progress of the process of their AI journey, as they're bringing in and deploying more agents? What do they need to be, aware of and investigating it as it regards to like observability, governance, et cetera?
Yeah. One thing people will really get concerned about, especially when it comes to Anthropic, this is a company which is built on constitutional AI and extreme caution. And it was stripped by zero point 0.3 megabytes of source map file, right? This will raise a lot of concern, and people should really go under the cover to discover what they're using. And when I say that, what I mean that, some people can argue Anthropic probably focused too much on essential safety and neglected operation security like CI/CD hygiene, which caused this kind of leak. So my view is people should basically make sure not only the company is focusing on essential safety, but they're focusing on overall safety like operation security.
Yeah. Do we think that if they're looking at agent platforms, tools, services that they're putting inside their environment, is it layered AI? Is it what how the human in the loop is involved? Like, are there certain things like you need to make sure you have X, Y, and Z as a as a requirement before you move forward?
All of the above, right? All of the above. See, layered AI and layered security is a key concept, and we can't neglect that. But one thing it happened in this scenario, which is got leaked and people are calling it undercover controversy. The leak revealed a feature called undercover mode, right? And also the leak happened to expose Capybara. Capybara is the most expensive model ever built by Anthropic, which is going to sit on top of Opus. And that caused people really concerned that even the layer security might be bypassed by that model, right? So you definitely need to be taken care of layered security, layered AI. That's essential for any company who's building AI agent.
Yeah.
And I
So
think it's also going to be important to keep focus on the trackability of the coding and what the algorithms are doing. So having the ability to almost digital signature what AI is doing for you and recording, because remember, it's not a deterministic system. And you'll need to be able to have that for compliance and governance and for that accountability and governance and compliance of your own enterprise. Especially, I mean, right now, 42001 is basically the only standard. You need SOC compliance, all the data and security things that we've gotten used to in SaaS and security, those are now finding their way to AI. And as AI gets embedded into the enterprise, that list and those capabilities are not just done for standards, they're done for the processes they bring to these areas.
yeah, Bill, as we wrap up, and that was what I was going to hit on, you spent decades in cybersecurity, and while enterprises were kind of going through the new frontier of cyber, digital security, then they had to evolve to bring in more, the multi-factor capabilities, the layered securities. Are they going through a similar shift now in the era of AI?
Yeah, I think they're taking the same journey SaaS did in applications, right? It's the early innings, to use the baseball analogy, or the early days in this. So, uh, lots being done, a lot more gonna be done on the things that Manoj are talking about, how these things are actually constructed, what kind of frameworks they use. As we know, we use very different ones for very different things because that exact reasons. And you want AI applied to the use case appropriately with the appropriate information, because your personal corporate data is going to get mixed into this to bring value to your business using AI. So that coupling is where the danger is. That needs to be personally involved with your researchers, your coders, and your security compliance teams.
Yeah, lots to come out from this story as we track it, the impact it has on the AI market and related to enterprises. So thanks, Bill. Thanks for Manoj for jumping on with us. I'm really excited to kind of continue these talks, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Manoj.